Um, I always like to start off a presentation with a proper good afternoon. I just want to make sure you guys are paying attention. Okay, that's fine. I'll let you off the hook on that. My name's Kahlow. I run a company called the Online Marketing Institute. You may have seen our booth over there or seen the flyers or whatever it may be. The reason I'm telling you about me is because where my information comes from. We have classes upon classes upon classes from the best instructors in the world, all recorded online on all of these topics we talk about, especially social media. So all of my information comes from these instructors. We actually got one from Paris in today to actually give us a case study as well. So that's where I get all my information from the Online Marketing Institute, and I'm happy to tell you more about that later. I've been doing this for a while. I've run a digital agency. I run an event company, much like TFMA. But my passion is to educate. So I'm hoping to give you guys some good information before you walk away today, and not just some general fluff or pitch or anything like that you might have heard in other sessions elsewhere. You can chuckle maybe internally on that. That's okay. Okay, so what I'm going to cover in 30 minutes plus a case study is a lot, yeah? I'm going to talk about the big picture, what the research is telling us. Then I want to tell us what the research is telling us about your peers, what the competition's doing. Then I want to talk about tactics, what to do, some things to be thinking about here in 2013 that will make a difference in your social media efforts, okay? I told you this is where all of our information comes from. The link there is the link to our URL, and again, I'll reference where the classes are if you ever want to look those up and get a research or a data point on that. Okay, big picture. This is something you guys already know, yeah? What all the big companies are using. Facebook at the top at 86%, Twitter right there, YouTube in the middle. You have Pinterest and Google Plus coming up the ranks, which is interesting, 35, 37%. And then other regional networks. Instagram is starting to make their move as well. So nothing new there. It's just a kind of a benchmark for you guys to remember. This is where people are spending their time and their money. So when I look at these things and stats like this, I think, well, there's so much things to do on all of these platforms. If I had to pick three, what would they be in 2013 with all of the people I know and all the smart instructors like Emmerich here, who I'll introduce in a second? What would I do? I would do Facebook, and I'll tell you what to do on Facebook. I would do mobile, and I would do video. And I'll tell you exactly why and what to do. So when we look at Facebook and the research, yeah? Again, things you already know, but I just want to remind you why we're spending so much time talking about it. When you look at the stats and you think about things like 1 out of every 5 people on the earth are on Facebook, yeah? It's important, right? And when you go to the stats on what people are doing on Facebook in terms of likes and 20 minutes a day being spent there and 40% of their time being in the news feed, these are the areas on Facebook you need to be thinking about how you get in front of, yeah? Pretty simple, straightforward stuff. Then you start taking a look at this next section, video. And again, remember, I'm just staying big picture. I will start narrowing us in soon. And if you look at video, you look at what people are doing in the time of day. And you go down to 2011, and 71% of people are using video on a normal day. Yeah? This is just about everybody. Then, and you think about how big Facebook is and the stats I just kind of flashed up there that we can give to you later, know this, that video is used more than Facebook. So if you're questioning whether you should use video, whether it be YouTube or on your website, and you know Facebook is big, do that comparison, and then you'll start to understand why video is such an important part of what you do. Now think about the implications of video on Facebook as well, and then you'll start seeing how pulling these things together will make a lot of sense. And then you can't forget mobile. So this is a bunch of stats. I'll just point out one of them. When you look at an average American, yeah, somebody like me, spends about 3 hours a day socializing on their mobile device. 3 hours a day. Looking on Facebook, you know what I'm talking about. When you're bored at the office and you're looking up something, this is what people are doing. So when they spend that much time, more time than they actually watch TV, we need to think about how do we get in front of them with that time. And then you look at stats like this, that by the end of this year, more people will be accessing the web via their tablet or phone than their PC. We need to figure out mobile, just to make sure at least our websites are mobile friendly. Things like even email. Most of us send these emails with big graphics and images, right? How many of you get those on your iPhone or your BlackBerry and you go, delete, and you move on, right? Because you won't look at it. And if you keep sending these image-based emails to a mobile device, people won't look at it because they know it's an advertisement, not a message for them. So you got to be thinking about things. Just an example. And then we look at video, yeah? So when you look at the percentage of video in terms of where people are headed, and then you look at the viewers being twice as likely to complete a video on a device, mobile device, you start to see how all these things start to work together, where Facebook and mobile, video and Facebook, mobile and video start to make a lot of sense purely based on what people are doing, not what we want them to do. Because as marketing professionals, so many times we want them to do this, or we want them to do that, we want them to engage in our message, and that's not how this works, especially in the world of the two-way medium. We call this thing the internet. Finally, what I want to show you is just a quick peek at what your peers are doing. So basically, this is a slide and some research we did with eConsultancy a while back. And what it's telling you is that most people are struggling with every aspect of social media, the analytics, the data, the tool sets, making sense of the data, so on and so forth. And this is telling you, in terms of an effective business tool, most are saying, almost 60%, that they're not using social and social data as an effective business tool. And what that means to me is, when we see these big stats that everybody is using social, all of our customers are on social, everybody's there, we know these things, you guys know this, but yet all of our peers aren't quite doing things right, that there is a lot of opportunity. Those that fill the gap, right, that are willing to do it right, take the steps to educate themselves, educate their company to do these things, that's the opportunity for you, I think, as an organization to get more market share, more sales, and as an individual, you start to understand how to do these things right. I've seen careers go through the roof just simply because they grabbed hold of that and became the confident person in the room to take it to the next level. Okay, so some tactics, yeah? The first thing I want to think about is amplification. And when you think about Facebook, I want you to think about this butterfly effect. You guys know what I mean? Like the butterflies go out? Is a good way to think. Then I'm going to talk about attribution, how you measure, and finally video. And on the Facebook piece, we're going to have Emmerich give us a quick case study on how Facebook actually drives real business. Last but not least, I do want to give a warning before we go any further. In 30 minutes or less, it is not possible to teach you how to do something correctly. It is only possible to teach you what you need to do, and then you need to take it a step further, to read the article, to read the research, to take the class, whatever it may be. Because if it were 30 minutes to do these things right, everybody would be doing it, and we all start from the same playing field again. It's about who does it better. So remember, think about the concept, not the how to do. That's the next step you have to do when you go home, okay? Okay, amplification. Basically what you see here is a slide that's talking about your fans and how you get the reach out there. The first thing we do when we want to reach our fans is we post something on our wall, or maybe we send out a message and we try to get their attention, yeah? And then that's where it stops for most of us. But what we found is when you're willing to try to amplify that message through the share. How many people have used share button on their Facebook pages? Handful? Yeah, you have? Yeah. Then you share and it goes out a little further. And guess what? Maybe then you advertise and it goes out even further. So if you're going to spend time being smart on Facebook, you need to think about not just the message you're going to post on your wall at hopefully the right time and with the right cool stuff, but how you're going to amplify that so it goes out and gets seen by everybody. If not, I would probably say don't waste your time just posting something up on the wall for the sake of doing it, yeah? Spend time doing it and doing it right. So we look at some of the research out there, and when we did some research with ComScore, basically what they found is the leading brands that were willing to take time to amplify their message found a 50 to 200% increase in fan reach, right? I'm going to keep going on this because Emmerich's going to get into a specific case study. And then we look at things like Skittles, yeah? Their website was getting 23,000 visitors a day. When they did their Facebook strategy correctly and properly amplified, they had 320,000 fans. They had almost 11x number of fans on their Facebook page than they did visitors, yeah? Huge opportunity for a very big brand, and again, an example of what you do and how you can get this right. Then you just look at the comparisons of Facebook versus all the other advertising. And if you're doing any banner advertising out there, any digital advertising, you know the average click-through rate is somewhere around 0.1%. On Facebook, it's 10 times that, it's 1%. And so if you're doing advertising, you need to think about how you advertise on Facebook and then how you advertise on Facebook to amplify your message. So when you look at Starbucks, for example, when they amplified their message on Facebook, they found 38% increase in-store sales, people walking into the store and buying a cup of coffee, 38% more. Amazon online found a 209% increase. These are real numbers based on real data. Now, a lot of us don't have the budgets to do that depth of research, but what it's telling us is that the money is there if we're willing to do it and do it right. Okay, so now I want to actually give you one of our instructors who's an expert on Facebook to show you a case study and tell you a little bit more about how this works. So, Emmerich, you want to come tell us a little bit more about how a Facebook case study would work for everybody? Yep.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm Emmerich. I'm French, just from the other side of the channel. And I am the founder of a company that does Facebook marketing software, so software that helps people manage their Facebook page and boost their Facebook page. And in a past life, we were an agency working for brands, doing stuff on Facebook, and that's a case that we've been doing with them with very specific numbers, budgets, and returns. So it's no bullshit return on investment. That client is a French travel company named Marmara. They have 35 vacation clubs all around the Mediterranean, and they offer trips to those clubs for 1 week for whatever, 339 euros. And they wanted to increase. They came to us with that brief. I want to launch a new contest to gain more fans. That was pretty common among brands 6 months ago. The last time I did it, it cost me 2 euros per fan. Emmerich, can you do better than that? I want a better cost per fan. And then I got back to them. I said, you don't need a better cost per fan. What you need is more clients and more exposure for your actual products. Because 6 months ago, I was already telling people that's not fans that you need. That's actual business. Their budget was 25,000 euros for ads buying, just ads, and 10,000 for everything else. Everything else meaning the apps, the project management, the design, and so on and so forth. So the first thing we've done, for those of you who are familiar with the Open Graph, we've installed the Open Graph meta tags on their website. So each of their vacation clubs, this is the page presenting a vacation club on their site, will have the right meta tags on the page saying, this is the title, this is the description, and these are the people who like that very vacation club. So that's the first step. If you don't know anything about Open Graph, you can learn about it on the Online Marketing Institute, and I definitely encourage you to learn about it, because this is the future of Facebook, especially the future of Facebook marketing. It's having Facebook on your website and not putting your website on Facebook. Once we've done that, we've launched a simple sweepstakes, like last year, the year before. Win a trip to win your next vacation with Marmara on the Facebook page. But what we've done, if we've embedded those clubs, because they were correctly open graphed with the Facebook meta tags, we were able to add them with a like button on the game. So the game would say, give us our first name, last name, email, tell us what airport you're going to leave from, and you know what? Like the vacation club you'd like to go to if you win. And so it was like a game. I'd like to go there and there and there, and that would be a like, and that would be a like on the web page of that club. What that's done is that those likes generated more than 13 million impressions for free. It's just the same sweepstakes as last year. Instead of just asking first name, last name, email, we proposed them to like the club they'd like to go to, and that allows those likes to be displayed 13 million times. And those 13 million displays got 16,000 clicks back from Facebook to the vacation club's web pages. The other thing that we've done, and that goes to the Facebook plus video thing that Aaron was promoting earlier, is that in those meta tags, Facebook meta tags, we've embedded videos promoting the clubs. So instead of when someone liked a club through the game, you can see here on the left, Emmerich's like a link, that link being the page of one of the clubs. Instead of just having a tiny little picture of 100 pixels wide, you have a play button in that picture, and if you click that play button, here is a large video of a good-looking girls touring the club for you and showing you the nice stuff you can find in that vacation club. So the impact is much, much stronger than just a little tiny picture by embedding video open graph meta tags in that web page. So that's the second smart thing that we've done for that campaign. What we got among those 13 million impressions, remember on Facebook it was displayed 13 million times, we had 1,750,000 video views of those club presentation. I don't know, if you go to a marketing agency that sells YouTube marketing, ask them how much it would cost you to get 1.7 million views on your YouTube channels. I think the number will be staggering. And all that was totally free, not a penny, not a euro, not a dollar, nothing. So at the end of the day, we got 93,000 people liking those clubs on the website. So you got a lot of clubs with a lot of people liking them. Not sure what kind of value it has, but at least it gives some credibility to the club that a lot of people likes them. We had those 13 million views on Facebook. Not sure about the value, but it's been more visible for a while. 1.7 million video views through Facebook on YouTube, and 16,000 clicks back. I didn't give any value to that. This is all visibility. This is great. If you talk to an ad agency, they will give you an equivalent of value, or a PR agency. I didn't even count that in the ROI. The ROI we counted is among those 16,000 people, we could track those clicks because we've used trackable URLs, obviously. We didn't use single URL that would not allow you to track what they've done on the website after. So 3 months following that game, among those 60,000 people who came back to the site, 45,000 euros worth of vacation were purchased by these very people. So remember, 25,000, 10,000, that was 35,000 euros overall budget. In just cash in, we've made 10,000 more. It may sound tiny, but when you add up all the visibility stuff, the video views and the millions of Facebook views, it ends up being quite better than what most people can get on Facebook when they launch the sweepstakes. So that's it for the case. I think I've done a presentation on the OMI with all other cases. There are a lot of cases. The problem is there is no cases that would fit everyone's needs, so you have to think about what would work for you. But this can give you ideas about what you can do. Little tool that we've released recently, those of you who are on Facebook page, have Facebook pages, probably know about the 16% of people will view your page update. So we've recently released a tool that will help you find out if you are in the 16% range or not. The truth being that you're probably not in that 16%. You're probably very bad at 2% or very good at 38%, which is the real actual range of Facebook pages. And we've built a tool that will allow you to see how you're doing compared to other pages in the same range of fans. So here it's pages with more than 100,000 fans, and as you can see, this one is reaching 20% of its fan base with each post, where the average page only reaches 6.6%. So that gives you an idea of, okay, where am I? How am I doing compared to my competition on my Facebook page? And as you can see in negative feedback, they're not doing as good as in fan reach. So I do encourage you to check it out. The URL, and it's a free tool, so I'm not selling anything here. It's totally free. Barometer.globals.com. It works on smartphone, and you can load your page. You'll get an email when it's done. So do not hesitate to see if you're above or below average on your Facebook page. Thanks, Aaron.
Okay, so you can see why I brought Ember Curia. He just showed us how somebody made money on Facebook, and a lot of people just question that. And the tangible value of that is, again, if you're willing to do it right and look at the analytics right that you talked about, and maybe even use the barometer as a tool to see how you compare to everybody else, I think you have a shot at actually making these things work. Okay, so remember I said my first one was Facebook, second one is video. So now I'm going to go into video, and I'm going to take a case study from one of our instructors at Cisco and tell you what they taught us in a short version of their class. So They look at video as their most valuable marketing asset at Cisco, right? And they look at it, and this is why. Because 44% more page views when there's a video on it, twice as likely to engage, 41% more likely to return to Cisco, and 5 times more likely to click through, right? And Cisco is selling big $1 million routers and switches, yeah? So they're using video, and they're using video effectively. This isn't just for some fluffy little game that's out there. This is for everybody all the way up that food chain. Then you look at things like video and emails driving click-through rates up. Again, huge. Thinking about video in your email is an enormously powerful tool. Then Facebook, 10 times more likely. I mean, these are huge numbers. I know I'm just tossing them out, but this can't be ignored. And then things like time of day. When they did research, they found certain times of the week were better, right? They found Mondays weren't so good, everybody's busy. They found Wednesdays a little bit better. And then they found actually Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays the best. We find that as well. The reason being is people are willing to spend a little bit more time doing things that aren't about just clearing out their inbox. So if you send an email, for example, with a video on Sunday afternoon when a lot of us catch up on our work before Monday morning, you have a really good chance of somebody actually watching that video. So again, these are the things to be thinking about, and this is what we've learned in terms of what's happening in using video appropriately for all channels, including social. Just a little bit more about the YouTube piece. You guys know how big YouTube is, so I'm not going to even bore you with that, but it's just some tips about what to do and how to get found. And then if you have a video, I just want you to know one thing. Whether you're paying for it on YouTube or whether it's your own free, you need to have a call to action, either the overlay or the free version to be able to do this, because most people have these videos and then you go, okay, now what? That was cool, yeah? Do I go to your website? What do I do? And most people don't have this. Here's where you go find out more information. So you can see right here or right here, depending on whether you do it on paid or not paid. If you don't do anything else with your videos on YouTube, make sure you have one of those 2 items if you're doing paid or not paid for your videos. Or else people just watch it and you entertain them and then they leave again, yeah? You gotta do these things. Okay, because we only have a short amount of time, I got one more kind of case study to talk to you about, and that's attribution. How many people know what I mean when I say attribution? No? Okay, so let me explain. Attribution is giving value to something that you think has the proper value. So when we're talking about attribution for digital marketing or social media, it's how do you give value to the right channel? How do you give value to Facebook? How do you give value to Google? How do you give value to Twitter for that sale, right? Because a lot of us give value only to what happens to be the last step that people take, yeah? So attribution is how do you attribute the value to that marketing channel. Most of us aren't doing any of this, and this is so important because it will allow you to justify your budgets and your spends and actually show success. This is to remind you that nobody comes through your lead funnels, for those of us in B2B, like this, that big giant funnel. They don't go in a linear fashion. They come see your website, they see a video on Facebook, they saw an email, they bump into you at a trade show, and it's all all over the place. Not like that. And so to get the right value becomes a little bit harder when you think about the true buying cycle of what people do. So I took this from one of our classes on multi-channel attribution. That's a word that everybody needs to know. If you don't know what multi-channel attribution is, go type that into Wikipedia and look it up. And then if you're more interested, of course, we've got classes and there's research. It's about what channel is driving what value for what ends means. And if you understand how to do these things, your life becomes a lot easier. And guess what? You become the smartest person in the room in your Monday morning meetings as well. So this is looking at a typical buying cycle. Somebody sees your tickets on Facebook, they want to look at your tickets, or they find you in Google or Bing, then they go to a shopping cart and then they convert, right? So the first type of attribution model is what we call linear, meaning you give a little credit for them seeing you in the awareness stage, you give a little bit more credit for them in the consideration stage, I see you on a paid search ad, and then you give more heavy credit to that final stage, right? 5% of the value for that sale goes up front, 60% in the end. Nah, maybe. I'm not sure. I'm just saying this is just one of the theories that some people will take. Others will look at what we call the U-shaped attribution model. Really heavily weight the awareness stage, like, hey, they saw us on Facebook, they get a lot of value, and then that end stage and not much in the middle, right? Kind of that U-shaped. Good, but again, The question is why, and it's all depending on the buying cycle, and I'll explain that in a second. Then there's what I call the cop-out, the evenly one. Oh, we'll give even weight to everybody, yeah? 25% here, 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 and here. It's not a bad place to start if you don't know anything else or don't have any better guesses. But again, there's no way that every channel gets equal value. So a little bit of an unfair way to do it. And then there's the worst way to do it. And this is what most of you are doing. It's called last click attribution. You're saying that all value goes to the person that happened to have that last click off of that paid search ad or off of whatever that was that led to the sale. And we know it's not true. People don't just look and go, oh, I saw the ad, I'm in, I'm done. Some, maybe 10%. For some of you, 20%, many of you, 2%. But you can't just do that. It is not fair. Yeah, they saw you other places. And you're going to start to only put your investments in those last clicks. And that's why Google makes so much money, because it's so easy to attribute that for that paid search ad when you see it. But it's not true. It's not the main reason they always buy you. It just happened to be the last reason they bought you, yeah? So this is why many people are misappropriating their budgets, why they're frustrated with Facebook because they're attributing here and they can't attribute back to that initial stage. So those are the 3 case studies. I want to give you 2 more things to think about when you're thinking about going off in your efforts, and then we'll take some questions and we can chat a little bit more afterwards. One is, when you're thinking about social, think about it in a more mature format. Meaning, you think about social as a tool, that's fine. Thinking about it as a channel, meaning this is how we're going to market through Facebook, okay. Think about it as a platform, thinking about it as a way to lift everything, better. But thinking about it as an organization is critical. Most of the best companies in the world that are really doing well with social media have educated and trained and actually got everybody on their teams to think socially as an organization, not just as a marketing tool, campaign, channel, or platform. All the big guys are doing it, the Intels, the Ciscos of the world. All of those people are getting everybody to think. Because this is how we communicate as human beings now, not just as a marketing tool, and it's really important to do. I'll share this slide and what it means with you guys if you want afterwards, but I just want you to be thinking social as a company, not social as a tool. Finally, all these things that Emmerich and I just talked about, I think kind of sum up into these 4 areas as kind of a takeaway, which is, how do you integrate things with social? How do you integrate across all the platforms, video and mobile, Facebook, so on and so forth? Not just Facebook alone or not just video alone, but how they integrate with each other. Amplification, how do you get more out of every piece of content you're putting out there, Facebook being that example. Iteration is something I think that is just overlooked time and time again. When we're on social media, you can put a message out there and then you can delete it. You can put a message out there and put another one out there and then another one and another one and iterate. You'll never get it right the first time. Do not get frustrated with it, because if you don't try to do it in different ways with different tactics, you'll never find out what works. So keep on doing things, keep on changing, keep on putting those messages out there, because it will work once you get it right. I took the iteration word from Sheryl Sandberg when I asked her a couple years ago, what's the number one thing you, head of Facebook, yeah? Would you recommend to marketing professionals to do on Facebook to be better? And she just said, iterate. Do it again, do it again. You can get away with things. You can make mistakes. You can do all this. People don't mind. And keep doing it until you get it right. And then lastly, we have to measure correctly. With that case study I just showed you before, you have to give value to things that are giving value back. And if you don't measure, then what's the point from the start? Yeah? Okay. So I don't want you guys to forget about Emmerich's offer to go compare yourself to everybody else. I know they can get it on their smartphone. It will work on their smartphone, yeah? It's mobile enabled, good job, yeah? So something for you guys to use as a tool to start showing, you can show your boss, oh, look how bad we're doing with our competitors. We need to spend more on Facebook. I encourage you to use this as a tool for you guys. And then finally, the classes and the research that we have, yeah? We can't learn all of this just from me or us now, right? You're like, I don't know where to start. Aaron was so fast and so furious, I don't know where to go. If you want to learn more, I am happy to give you the links directly to the class, directly to the research. If you want to learn, that's our job, is to educate. So happy to do that. There's no cost associated with it whatsoever. We'll be here for questions for a little bit. And then our booth actually is right on the other side of this. So if you want, we're happy to just sit there and chat with any of you about questions or where to go or what to do or anything. And then there's some flyers there too for some help.